For 17-year-old Thomas Fraboni, moving into a house with his own room is a big deal.
It's pretty nice. I'm actually kind of excited that we get our own rooms. Also, I'll have enough room to maneuver around, and then I won't have anything. Like I won't have a lot of things. I'll be able to do a lot more things in this house to move around than in the house that we're in now.
It's been 7 years since the Fraboni family first applied to Habitat for Humanity, and despite the lengthy process, Thomas, his 16-year-old brother Jacob, and 14-year-old sister Cassandra, 37-year-old father Phil say they're all happy to finally have a place to call home. Back in 2002, the Frabonis were renting a 3-bedroom townhouse. They simply couldn't afford to purchase a home to suit their needs. That's when they turned to Habitat for help.
We had heard a bit about Habitat for Humanity and the projects that they do for building homes. We knew that there hadn't been a home built in Hamilton in about a year time at that point. I think the last one was in 2001. So after my wife and I looked into it, we gathered the paperwork and we filled it out and sent it in to them. We went through a number of different sort of family interviews where a couple of committee members from the Family Selection Committee came out to our house and sat down and talked to us about our family and you know, the sort of the principles of Habitat and what kind of things we were looking for in a home and why we wanted to partner with Habitat. At that time, of course, it was quite obvious that our needs were for having an accessible home. Both my wife and my oldest son, Thomas, used wheelchairs.
For 16 years, Phil's wife, Renee, battled a neurological disorder. As her condition worsened, she developed diabetes and thyroid cancer. Sadly, Renee passed away in late 2007. And even though Renee is no longer by his side, Phil says he is looking forward to finishing what the two started together.
This was one thing that my wife and I were looking forward to in really setting up our roots in Hamilton. You know, we've lived in several cities in Ontario, and you know, when we came to Hamilton back in 2001, it was pretty much to stay. And you know, I'm glad that we're able to finally set down some roots and call a place our home.
And once Habitat decided to build a home for the Frabonis, they actually turned to Phil and his family for help in order to make sure their first ever accessible home build in Hamilton would go according to plan.
We actually asked Phil Fraboni to sit on our build committee as a consultant to us. Habitat for Humanity doesn't build customized homes for families. We build standard homes, and our homes are described as simple, decent, and affordable. So we didn't ask Phil to sit at the table to direct us on customizing a home for him. We really wanted him there to give us the sensitivity of the nuances around building for an accessible needs. So anyways, Phil and his family, Thomas and Jacob and Cassandra, have all been involved in the build throughout the whole time. They've far exceeded the 500 hours. And so I think the end result is that while it's challenging to build an accessible home, having that consulting feature of Phil's at the table each week as the build committee met made a huge difference in allowing us to build the house properly and not make big mistakes.
Originally a tiny wartime home took up this space at this corner lot. It faced Dunsmuir Road. But that home was knocked down in late October of last year. But it didn't take long for Habitat and their crew of volunteers to get to work on building the Frabonis' new home, which will face Tolton Road. One of the major contributors of their time and effort were members of the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program.
And every year we're very surprised on the quality of students that we're getting and their commitment that they have to a program, and now more importantly to Habitat.
As part of his agreement with Habitat, Phil had to contribute a total of 500 hours of sweat equity time. But even his kids got their hands dirty, helping with the build from the very beginning. Now that the home has officially been handed over to Phil and his kids, it's easy to see how much time and effort went into making this house a home for this very special family.
It was a great pleasure for us to be able to design this home to suit the needs of the family, and so that means that there's a wheelchair ramp coming from where the car will be parked into the home. We sunk the foundation lower in the ground so that there was less of a rise to get into the house. We swept a deck around to the front of the house so that Thomas in his wheelchair will be able to move freely up the ramp into the house. There will be an automatic door opener that will allow him easy access to the house. We designed the kitchen so that he can wheel his chair under the counter and make his own meals there. Things like that.
It's been a journey 7 years in the making, but as Phil looks back on the experience of having Habitat help his family head home, it's clear it's been worth the wait.
This home is going to be home for us. It means putting down roots in Hamilton. Calling Hamilton home.
If giving somebody a hand up is important to you, you can get involved with your local Habitat for Humanity chapter by checking out their website. For Cable 14, I'm Charles Ciagro. 1, 2, 3. Fraboni!